All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Monday, April the 18th, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. And guys, as we jump on, breaking news, EJ Jenkins has officially announced he has entered the transfer portal. So, big news on a Monday. Again, obviously a very busy weekend in the city, and I do want to hear from you. We're taking your questions, your comments, your calls. 843-790-3377, guys. It's 843-790-3377. I see Justin Langford, Brennan M., John Kruger, Rob Youngson, Connor Lee, Travi. What's going on? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Also from the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel. Be sure your questions are answered there. Again, the big news that actually just dropped, I'd say like a minute ago. EJ Jenkins has entered the portal after last year. He hauled in 8 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. And I'm actually getting that out right now on social media, guys, so bear with me. But again, I do want to hear from you. Your full thoughts, spring game, baseball, everything in between. 843-790-3377, guys. It's 843-790-3377. Let's see. Connor Lee, what a weekend. Again, we got a lot to dive into. I really, truly do today, guys, want to hear from you all. Again, so much to discuss. My full thoughts, of course, are out on the podcast regarding the spring game and everything else, but I do want to hear from you guys because, again, it was a very, very busy weekend. John Kruger, yes, EJ Jenkins. His official statement, let me see, I didn't even read it. It says, first, I'd like to thank God for presenting me the opportunity to experience being a Gamecock this past year. Truly blessed to meet the new people that I can call family in my time at Salcona. Thank you, Coach Beamer, Coach Stepp, rest of the staff for allowing me being part of the 2021 season. Lastly, thank you, Gamecock Nation, for giving me the experience I would have dreamed as a kid. Will always be love here. That said, I'll be entering the transfer portal. Thank you, South Carolina 13 out. Yeah, I'll say this just really quickly, guys. Again, I didn't buy into the Jenkins hype from the jump. I felt like he was a guy coming from St. Francis. And again, that's not meant as a slight, but I just didn't buy into him being like some All-American, All-SEC caliber guy. And I think you saw that on the field. A guy that struggled to get on the field last year. Call it for what it is. He struggled to get on the field. He only had 8 catches, like I said. And, I think you just, with the guys you added through the portal, the Antoine Wells, Austin Stogner, Jaheim Bell coming back. I don't think EJ Jenkins was going to get a lot of playing time. I just flat out just don't think he was going to see the field a whole lot. And so, again, you wish him best, and it's no ill will, and you obviously want guys to go somewhere they're going to play. So, and I think that's the reason. I think that is 110% the reason. I think it's just purely a playing time thing. I respect him sticking it out through spring ball, just kind of getting a feel of where he fit in. But I think, it's just a playing time thing. So, again, guys, it just goes to show that just because you're 6'7", it doesn't make you a good wide receiver. Either way, again, I want to hear from you guys. 843-790-3377. Justin Langford, heck of a weekend in Gamecock Nation. When you think about what Salcona baseballed in the Diamond, and of course the spring game as well, and what a weekend it was, man. I'll start there. I just want to say again, I said this on the podcast, guys, but I want to say again, thank you all so much, man, for the love and support. I felt the love all weekend, especially Saturday at the spring game. Got to meet so many of you. So many great Gamecocks. I saw so many people rocking the merchandise, which was incredible. It was truly incredible. And, I can't say enough good things, and I can't, express enough gratitude, man. It's wild. I mean, really, truly, it was such a good time. Shout out my dude, by the way, in case you missed this on social media. I had to show this off on the Daily Crow, but we finally got a helmet. If I can even fit it in the screen here, the TSUS helmet, my dude, Cocky Lids. I mean, just went nuts on this. I mean, incredible. I mean, it's a legitimate helmet you can put on. You might have seen me at the spring game wearing this, but it is in studio, and I mean, just awesome, dude. I mean, you don't really dream about stuff like that. You know what I mean? So shout out my dude, Travis, at Cocky Lids, legend. Be sure to go follow him on social media. And then again, like I said, man, got to meet so many great Gamecocks, and yeah, so it was incredible. Let's see. Rob says, worried about the depth at tight end with Bell being a hybrid. Now we have Stogner, who doesn't get here till fall, and Kenyon. Who else? Well, I mean, I think Bell's still technically a tight end. He can do anything, but I think Bell is still technically a tight end. He can play that position. They're moving They moved Chad Terrell's a tight end now. Chad Terrell is a tight end now. So he's going to be there. They're also moving the kid from Chapin, Short, I think is his last name. They're moving him to tight end as well. I think we should be fine. I think we should be fine. I mean, listen, we've got the guys we need. I'm not too concerned with depth. Depth is something I think is still Shane Beamer's probably number one priority. He wants to improve on our football team. I will say I thought the depth looked a lot better Saturday. I mean, just comparing it to last year, I mean, we are at some positions so much deeper than we were a year ago. But, I mean, again, guys, it's year 2. So, sorry, I'm just getting this E.J. Jenkins news out on social media here. Again, in case you missed it, E.J. Jenkins has officially entered the transfer portal, which, again, is not totally shocking to me. It's not. It's not shocking to me. I just think it's a playing time issue, and I just don't think he was going to play. I mean, bottom line, whose reps was he going to take? You know what I mean? Whose reps was he going to take? So I just don't think he was going to play. Anyways, though, guys, I do want to hear from you, your thoughts on the spring game. Of course, the podcast dropped this morning, episode 638. Todd Smith with the super chat. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you, Todd. Thank you so much. Again, man, thank you for the love. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the spring game. Again, full podcast dropped this morning with my full thoughts and takeaways and everything else on the spring game. Again, I thought it was a fantastic weekend in the city. I thought Salcona did a great job in regards to the spring game itself, putting on a great event. It was a great night for fans. The game was a spring game. It was a spring game. It was a glorified scrimmage, but still getting a first look at guys like Spencer Rattler and Antoine Wells and, Terrell Dawkins and many others, you know what I mean? Just getting a look at those guys and getting our first glimpse at what the 2022 Gamecocks are going to look like this fall. Always a good time. Hey, nobody got hurt. I think it was a successful spring game all the way around. I know I had a blast at Willie B. The tailgate was incredible. Heck, it felt like a game day. And yesterday, the way I felt, that felt like a Sunday after a game day also. I was a little tired. A little tired yesterday. Maddox Smith texts in and says, how do you think Corey Rucker will be used? Well, I think he's just going to be another receiver for us. I mean, I think he's just going to be another option. How much he'll play, how big of a role he has, I think that's TBD. But it's just another option for Spencer Rattler. So I think it's nothing but a positive addition for sure. Let's see. Steve Stanton says, 8 catches out of how many throws? Didn't see him making drops like the rest. Braden Davis looked like Phillip Rivers with a delivery that was accurate and good velocity. Yeah, I mean, I was happy with the quarterbacks. I mean, listen, I thought Spencer Rattler, while he didn't really go downfield, you could see the zip. You could see the effortless or the what's the word I'm looking for? Effortlessness when his throwing motion, with the way he threw the football, the way it zipped and jumped out of his hand. You could certainly see that. So, I mean, listen, I'm stoked for Spencer Rattler. I mean, I'm very, very excited for what he's going to bring to our offense. I would have loved to have seen them. And I know people, it's a spring game. You can't open up the playbook. But like, I would have just loved to see him go down the field once. Just show off the cannon. I just love to see the cannon. So, yeah. Let's see. Travi, I appreciate you. The helmet's sick, man. The helmet's sick. Matt Johnson, I've got the new helmet right here. I mean, the setup, there's really nowhere for it to fit. But again, the helmet's displayed in studio for sure. Mike Hall, appreciate the love, my guy. Appreciate you tuning in also. Dylan says Beal Smith's very close to getting that starting running back position. Yeah, I mean, I like Christian Beal Smith a lot. Either way, the main takeaway is our guy Austin Greer talked about this morning as well, and I talked about in the podcast, is that we're loaded at running back. I mean, we have options. We got plenty of options. And it's only going to make that room better. Again, iron sharpens iron. You've got all those guys fighting against each other, fighting for reps. It's only going to make everybody better. Let's see. We got a text here. Again, questions are rolling in as I figured would happen the Monday after the spring game. We've got a text here. Maddox again says, in my opinion, the defensive line will be a huge asset to our team. What do you think about that? And who do you think will stand out? Well, I think they're the question. I think they're one of the big questions because you did not stop the run very well at all last year. I mean, we have talent up front. There's no question. I don't think we're to the point where we're an elite defensive line by any stretch. I don't think we're to the point where we have an elite defensive line by any stretch, but we've got talent up there, man. Terrell Dawkins did flash and look good. I'm excited for Boogie Huntley. Of course, you've got Strawn, you've got Birch, you've got Pickens. So, it feels like another year where we go into the season, and I'm hesitant to say because I feel like the last couple of years I've said, oh, we've got so much talent on the D-line, so much talent up front, and we just haven't been able, for whatever reason, to stop the run. I think a lot of that falls on the linebackers, which, I talked in the podcast, my biggest question marks now that spring ball's over, going into the summer, for me on defense, it is linebacker. I just, who's going to be the dude? Who's going to be the popper at linebacker? Who's going to be able to help and run support? Does Sherrod Green have his best year in Garnet and Black? Is he fully healthy? Does Mo Kaba, does Stone Blanton play immediately? Does Debo Williams step up as more of a impact player this year instead of a special teams guy? So I think linebackers where a lot of those question marks, lie. But yeah, I mean, I feel good about the athletes we have on the D-line. Again, I still don't look at it as I don't look at it as an elite D-line. It's not like our 11 or 12 or 13 defensive lines we had here, but we got some good players up there. And I think we're all confident in Clayton White and what he brings to the table and what he's going to do with that defense. Let's see. Got a text. Who would be your RB1 as of right now? I'd have to say Marshawn Lloyd. That's a great question. And it's really tough because I think the guy I'm most intrigued about is Christian Beal-Smith. I just think a dude that led Wake Forest in rushing. He's dynamic. You saw him catching passes out of the backfield. He's a hard-nosed runner. I will say I thought Marshawn Lloyd looked much closer to the Marshawn Lloyd we have heard about. You saw the spin move he had and the explosiveness I think was there. I mean, you can't deny what Juju McDowell does, though. You can't deny what Juju McDowell does. I mean, he's just every time he touches the ball, something happens. I mean, I think he averaged 9.5 yards per carry on Saturday night. So you just can't deny that. You just cannot deny that. So I think Juju, I don't know if Juju is the number one back in the sense of like being the bell cow back of, he's going to carry it 20, 25 times a game. But, I mean, certainly he's a guy that has to be involved in the offense, and he needs to touch it 10 to 15 times. There's no question. There's just no question. Is it going to be Marshawn? Is it going to be Beal-Smith? Does Lavassier Carroll jump up the depth chart? Again, guys, I mean, gun to head right now, it's really tough to say who RB1 is coming out of spring. I mean, Beal-Smith did start the game next to Spencer Rattler, so you would think that he's at least in that mix. You would think he's certainly in that mix. So I'd probably go Beal-Smith. I do like his game a lot. But, if Marshawn Lloyd can come into his own, like I said, guys, and Connor Lee says, let's just run a 3 running back system. I hear you. You got a lot of guys that need to play, but you also want to narrow it down to your top 2 dudes because, at some point, you got to let these running backs get into a groove and get into a rhythm, and it's just really hard to do that playing 4 guys. So you need to find those top 2. Again, I'd love to see Juju slide out in the slot, use him in the sweep game, use him in the, obviously in the run game, but use him in different ways because his athleticism, I mean, again, it's like every time he touches the ball, something positive's happening. Every time he touches it. I mean, again, he averaged 9.5 yards per carry. DJ Twitty, I mean, listen, I liked what I saw from him. Realistically, do I think he's going to break the top 4? Honestly, probably. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. I don't think so. If I had to predict it, I don't think so. But that room is deep. We have got plenty of options when it comes to running back. We got plenty of options. So the running backs are honestly the least of my concern. I have nothing but excitement for the running back position and what that's going to do for our offense. Again, guys, if I'm not getting to your questions, I do apologize. We have got questions coming in like crazy. So if you want to call in, the phone lines are open, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Ben Smith says, why do you think EJ entered the portal with the lack of depth at tight end? Ben, I just think with the additions, with the guys we've added in the transfer portal, I just don't think EJ was going to play a lot. I mean, heck, he didn't play a lot last year, And so you add Austin Stogner, you still have Jaheim Bell, Trey Kenyon looked good in the spring game. Chad Terrell even looked good in the spring game. Heck, he was our MVP for the game. So, and then if you're talking him playing wide receiver, well, Josh Vann is back, Dak Joyner is back. You had Antoine Wells, you're adding in Corey Rucker. I just don't think there were a lot of reps for him to go around. And again, I know folks, I know fans, again, he's a dude. The tough thing with EJ Jenkins, he's a dude that physically he just pops, right? I mean, obviously, the dude's 6'7". I mean, he's built like a freaking, like a monster. He's chiseled. Dude is a specimen athletically. But again, just because you're all those things, it doesn't make you a good wide receiver. And I had heard things when he came in. About, why. There's a reason he went to St. Francis. And I say that with all due respect. There's a reason he went there. Yeah, there's a reason that he started his career there. I'm just saying. So, again, I don't think it's some huge loss for us. I mean, I don't mean that, again, with any disrespect, but I think we'll be fine. I think that, he just wasn't going to play, I think, when he looks at playing time. So Kevin Gunner says, dude, have you had too many Red Bulls this morning? Go Gamecocks. Kevin, you must be new here because this is just the energy I have every day. So I drink coffee. I actually don't drink Red Bulls. I'll drink coffee, but hey, man, Kevin, we just bring the passion, baby. We bring the passion. We start talking Gamecocks football, man. How can you not be passionate talking Gamecocks and Gamecocks football, man? And Gamecocks athletics in general. By the way, we can talk baseball, too. Baseball beating Ole Miss 2 out of 3. They're reeling me back in. They're reeling me back in. They are. They're reeling me back in, because when you look at the SEC standings, you're sitting at 6-9. You're at the halfway point of conference play. And I'm just like, man, why can't we go 9-6 in SEC play the last 15 out? Why can't we? You know what I mean? That gets you to 15-15, and I think that gets you in the postseason, guys. I think that gets you in the postseason, believe it or not. I think that does get you in the postseason. Now, you also need to take care of business in the midweek. You've got Winthrop this Wednesday. You've got, let's see, you only got 4 midweek games left. So you got Winthrop, North Carolina A&T, USC Upstate, and Charlotte. Let's just say you win all of those. That puts you at 22 overall wins. If you go 9-6 in SEC play, okay, that puts you, what did I say? 22 overall wins, 9 wins in SEC play. Does 31 wins overall get you in the postseason? Or do you have to do something in Hoover? Do you have to do better than 9-6 in your last 15? I still think the postseason for this team's a long shot. I do. I think the postseason's a long shot. Yeah, I mean, Justin, I think most certainly we're not going to host a regional. I think the postseason's a long shot. I just, again, you're assuming we're going to win every series we have left. That's pretty much what it is. 9-6 is you're taking 2 out of 3 in every single series. Yeah, that's correct, right? Basically every single series you have left. So I don't know if that's, I don't think that's realistic for this team. This team has just shown, man, again, it's just, we're so hit or miss. And unfortunately, I think we probably will miss again down the stretch. But I don't know. They almost kind of try to reel you in whenever we play a ranked team. We seem to play well. I don't know. Yeah, Corey Bridges, I did miss the end of the baseball game. Yeah, I did, unfortunately. I did miss the end. I mean, what choice did we have, man? We had to head out to the tailgate. I went to the baseball game and stayed until the end of the 3rd inning, and then I left. We had things to do, man. Things to do, people to see. Had to get out there. So, again, guys, would love to hear from you on the phone lines. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, full podcast drop this morning. Breakdown of the spring game, everything from key takeaways to my biggest question marks going into the offseason, MVP, all that good stuff, but a full breakdown of the spring game. Really, really good stuff. You can check that out. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. You guys already know. Again, shout out to you all, by the way, man. Like I said, it was incredible over the weekend, just getting to meet so many of you and had a blast. I mean, Saturday was just truly incredible. The weekend was incredible, but Saturday was awesome. By the way, shout out the Gamecock Bourbon Boys. Gamecock Bourbon Society for having us out there Friday night at their event on Bourbon on Main. We had an absolute blast. I look forward to many more events they will have in the future, but appreciate them having us out. That was a fantastic start to the weekend. And like I said, the spring game, I mean, it really felt like a game day. It really did. I mean, that Gamecock walk, was impressive. And I joked with people walking in. I was like, this feels like the Troy game, like honestly. And the crowd was similar. It felt like the Troy game. So it felt like the Troy game. Hunter Herlong says, good to meet you at the spring game. I got to get one of your tailgates this fall. I have a couple darts and bush latte. Yeah, darts and bush lattes. That is for sure how we roll. Hunter, great to meet you as well, though, my guy, for real, man. It was awesome. Brendan Wagner, do you think we fire Kingston if we barely miss the postseason? I think if we miss the postseason, yeah, I would bet change is coming. Yeah, if we miss the postseason. Absolutely. Yeah. I would bet so. I just don't see how he can survive it. So, Bryant Hughes, EJ Jenkins in the transfer portal. Yeah. That's the news of the morning, I guess.
Will,
here, let's jump to the phone lines here. Will, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good. What's going on with you? Are you good?
Yeah, man, just hanging out, chilling. What's up?
Just calling to get my thoughts on the spring game. I was there. I actually tailgated over there by your seawall spot. But I thought, I was a little underwhelmed, I guess I could say. I was happy with it looked efficient. There were times where Spencer looked good. He made that 3rd and 18 throw was really good. The throw he made to Leggett was really good. Doty actually looked much improved. I think that Spencer lit a fire under his ass because he seems to be playing a little bit better. Marshawn looked good. There was definitely some guys. Juice looks like he's going to be a solidified stud.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess I was lacking like the big explosive plays, But other than that, I was pretty happy. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the number they put out there. I saw 20-something thousand. The whole bottom row was filled almost.
Yeah.
That had to be like 35, right?
Yeah, I was wondering how long we were going to make it to the show before the attendance thing came up. Attendance Gate 2022. So yeah, and of course, in case you did not realize, if you're tuned in, and I'm so glad I credited Sports Talk on this number, because if I didn't, I would have been getting the blame for saying that the number, whatever. Either way, but USC reported it. All the other media outlets pushed it, whatever, 20,671 was the attendance.
There's no way.
Right. And I will say this, sitting in there, I don't think we quite hit 35. I'll tell you this. I was at the spring game in 05, and that was the 38,000, whatever. I thought it was around 30.
Right.
I thought it was around 30. That was just my pure guess. But it was definitely more than 20. It was definitely more than 20,000. There's no question. So I don't know. But what kills me is it's all a made up number anyways. Like, it is. So, like, why wouldn't, if you're USC, Clemson reported 35, 36,000. Why not just report the attendance was 36,001? Like, just to be funny. Like, nobody, even in the grand scheme of things, nobody cares about a spring game attendance anyways. I don't know why you would lowball yourself so badly. It definitely was more than 20,000. That's for sure. That was a ridiculous number. So,
like, it was definitely closer to 30,000 than it was to 20,000. Let's just put it.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
I just didn't. Yeah, I didn't get like you. I didn't get why the number they put out was so low.
Yeah.
It was like, and the atmosphere was lit. Mm-hmm. Even if there was only 30,000 people, it was a pretty lit atmosphere for a spring game.
No, I thought it was a fantastic atmosphere. I thought Gamecock Nation showed up and showed out, and I like I said, I don't have the official number, but it was more than 20,000. I'm willing to die on that hill that it was more than 20,000. And you know what's funny, man? I kind of feel for it's the beautiful thing about what we do and having the creative freedom and not having to answer to USC, because I almost kind of feel for the media guys, because they're reporting the attendance that was released by USC, I guess. And, they're getting slammed for it, which whatever, you know what I mean? Honestly, I love the passion of Gamecock fans. I love it. I love seeing it all over social media. But I don't have to agree with it. I know the 20,000 number is bullshit. We can just say that here. We don't have to dance on eggshells because we're gonna piss somebody within USC off. Because they messed up. I don't know why. Again, I just don't know why. Nobody cares if you even made the number up. You could have said 40,000. Nobody would have probably even batted an eye. You know what I mean? Why would you short your own fan base so badly? I just don't understand that. Hey, say 28,000. I could have lived with that. Okay, I still think it's a little low, but that's at least closer. 20,671 is disrespectful, bro. That's just disrespectful.
And what did they say? Last year's was 19 or something like that?
I think 15. I don't know. Maybe it was 19. I don't exactly know.
It was something like that, but it was pretty close to the number of this year, and I'm pretty sure that it was way more people this year.
Yeah, it wasn't even. Yeah, last year was
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah, it just felt like we kind of slighted ourselves on that one a little bit. And Beamer even said it at the press conference. He's like, that's bullshit. It's $1 billion%.
Yeah,
it was more than 20,000.
I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was going into that, bro. I have no idea. And they like what's wild is like they had to know like people are gonna get pissed off. Well, I mean, they had to know. I don't know, man.
That's Gamecocks and Gamecocks. I don't know.
Just blame Ray Tanner. He probably did it. Just blame Ray Tanner.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get off of here, bro. I tried to call and give my little 2 cents.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, later, man.
All right, man. Later. Yeah, I was wondering, like I said, how long it would take before we got into attendance gate 2022 in regards to the attendance for the spring game. Me just eyeballing it, I thought it was like 31 or 32,000. That was my guess. You know, again, guys, I was at the spring game in 2005, and you know, I thought Saturday that the student section was a little shoddy. I thought the student section was a little shoddy. I mean, it was definitely over that. It was around that 30 number, though. Again, just going off of 2005, it was 38,000 in 2005. I don't think we quite hit that number. I think we were low 30s. But I mean, dude, what? It's. I mean, people were getting after it on Twitter. People were getting after it, which again, I love because it's like if I went out to California and people asked me like, well, if you could define the passion and just show me one thing that encapsulates the passion of Gamecock Nation, what would it be? And I would be like, my friend, let me show you this scenario where fans are going nuts over what the spring game attendance was. Really, truly. And I mean, again, I mean that as a compliment. I love it. That passion, that loyalty, that's why we get to do what we do. I mean, bottom line. That is just a passion and loyalty that you there are a few things in life you can replicate it. So I thought it was incredible. Again, guys, 843-790-3377. As you can imagine, after the spring game, the phone lines are buzzing. The comments are rolling in. Zach Hardy texts in, who will be your running back one right now? Okay, we talked about that earlier. He said, also talked to Rattler after the game, and I had the Beamer Rattler merch on, and he loves it. Yeah, Spencer's that dude, man. Spencer's the dude for sure. I appreciate you, by the way, Zach. Yeah, Kenyon, the tight end, great red zone threat. He did his touchdown celebration right in front of me in the end zone. Love that. Yeah, I thought he had a good game. Let's see. How do you think the O-line played? Maddox Smith asked. Again, it's just so tough. It's so tough to say, well, they played great or they played terribly. But on that note, you know, on the podcast today, of course, talking, you know, what are the biggest question marks? Now that spring ball's concluded, what are the biggest question marks for Salcona football heading into the off-season, if you will? I know we don't really use that word off-season because there's no off-season, guys, when it comes to South Carolina. But, I mean, listen, I think offensively, we feel like we upgraded everywhere, right? We feel like we upgraded everywhere. Quarterback, obviously. Receiver, definitely. Tight end when Stogner gets there, and, of course, bringing Bell back for sure. Running back, I think we upgraded even with the losses of Harris and White. You add all the guys we added, I think we upgraded there. Offensive line. I mean, that's the question. That is the number one question. You could really, I think the success of this season hinges on that offensive line. Completely, totally, 110%. The success of our 2022 football season all hinges on the line. We've got the skill guys. We have them now. Hey, last year, you could argue we didn't have the quarterback. You could argue we didn't have the receiving core. You could argue, you know, there were holes here and there. We have it now. There's no excuse. That's why if it doesn't work this fall, it will all fall on one man, and that man is Marcus Satterfield. It will all fall on him because we got all the skill guys. I'm not saying we're elite at the skill positions, but you've got arguably the most talented quarterback you've ever had in school history under center. You've got Josh Vann returning, who I think is a legitimate big-time playmaker in the SEC. Antoine Wells looked like a specimen, looked like a freak. He's going to be a huge part of your offense. Corey Rucker's not even on campus yet. You bring back guys like DeCarrion Joyner. You look at tight end. You've got Jaheim Bell, who, you know, I put him in tight end. He's going to be all over the field. He's going to be one of the most dynamic players in the SEC. You got Austin Stogner coming in, who, by the way, is Spencer Rattler's best buddy, who should be a big target for him and one of his favorite targets, especially, I think, on third downs. I mean, running backs loaded, right? Take your pick between Marshawn Lloyd, DJ Twitty, Lavassier, Carroll, Christian, Beal, Smith, Juju McDowell, who I think is going to do things even outside of the running back position. You've got all these guys, and there's guys that I have not even mentioned that are going to help you offensively. Can the offensive line block? That's what it comes down to. If they can hold their own, you're going to have a lot of success on offense. I don't see anything holding the offense back. If they can block, you're going to have a lot of success. But that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, you could really say the entire season hinges on that line. I think defensively, you know what? I think we're going to take care of our business. Can the offensive line do their job, open up holes, give Spencer Rattler some freaking time to get the ball to his playmakers? That's the number one question. That was the number one question going into the spring practice. That was the number one question as we sit here today. That's the number one question going into summer. That's the number one question going into SEC Media Days. That's the number one question going into fall camp. And that's the number one question going in this season. Can the offensive line do a well enough job for us to have success on offense this year? And in turn, have a successful 2022 season. That's what it comes down to, truly. I mean, again, that's something you can't answer in a spring game. Because, guys, look back at last year's spring game. Look back at just last year in general. Who would have ever imagined the offensive line was going to be as bad as it was? I mean, I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody did. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, a.k.a. Kirk Street.
to accept. Press.
Robbie, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How was your Easter?
I had a fantastic weekend, my guy. I'm having a great day. It's great to hear from you. Doing swell, man. It's a good start of the week.
I agree, and I also agree with what you just said just now. If from what I saw, okay, obviously they haven't played a real game yet. They don't play till September 3rd is our season
Right.
opener.
Yep.
Against
Georgia State. Yep. Georgia State.
The weapons that we have and the upgrades that we have at the skill positions, okay, I agree with you. If the offensive line can somehow block somebody, we're going to give teams fits. Like the defensive coordinator is going to, for the other team, is going to be getting like pissed. Okay, that's what I truly think. That they will be pulling their hair out trying to figure out, okay, how do we stop this offense? Because if they get on a roll, it's going to be really difficult to stop them.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing: the offensive line should be much better. I mean, you return your top 8 guys.
Right.
You return your top 8 guys.
Right.
I will say to that point, we talk about experience a lot. Sometimes I think experience can be overrated because, they have experience, but is it good experience? Have they played good football? I mean, it's the experience doesn't mean a whole lot when, they haven't played well. But with that being said, like we have seen these guys play good football. So,
right.
I mean, here's the thing.
Right.
I guess the good news is this: the offensive line can't be any worse than it was last year. I mean, it was pathetic. I mean, it was absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
And I know we need to recruit.
We won 7 games.
Right. We need to recruit.
With how bad our offense did, it was.
Yeah, we need to recruit. We're not elite up there up front, but we're much better than we showed last year. And I do think having some stability at the quarterback position, I think that's going to help us a lot. I think having stability at the quarterback position will help us a lot. I think just Rattler's veteran presence, I think that will help us a lot. I mean, the O-line should be a lot better. It should. Not just better, a lot better. It should. But again, I thought the O-line, I do, of course, we do the position unit previews and grade all the position units.
Right.
I had them at like a B+. I thought the O-line was a strength last year going in, and I looked like an idiot. I think we all did. I think everybody expected the O-line to be pretty good, and it was a nightmare. So, if they can figure it out, again, I really feel like, and I'm not trying to say, we've got the playmakers go win 10, 11, 12 games, but we definitely got some weapons on offense that, are going to give us a damn good chance. So if the O-line, like I said, if they can play well, that's where you start talking, I mean, without a doubt, the 7-win, the 8-win, maybe even, God forbid, the 9-win type of season. If the offensive line does what it did last year, I think you're struggling to get to 6-6. I know nobody wants to hear that, but I think that's where you'll be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And
Me and my dad were sitting in our seat, right? And there were these two guys sitting behind me and my dad. And one of them said, "Dude, I can't believe how big this stadium is." And I was like, this is a Division I college. It's going to be pretty big.
Willie B is a big stadium.
But, yes. And I told him, I said, honestly, I told him, I said, at first it didn't look like this because one of the upper decks was added on. I can't remember which one, but one of them was added on.
One of the upper decks was added on. When? What do you mean?
Like one of them was like whenever they first had the stadium, they obviously didn't have the upper decks.
I mean, when they first made Willie B, way back in like the 30s, it didn't have any upper decks.
Yeah, so. But of course, we didn't have anybody get hurt in the spring game, which is a major plus. And I don't know how many passing yards Rattler had, but I do know he was 8 out of 10. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I think he was like 8 out of 10 for like 79 yards, something like that. So, I mean, it was just a bunch of dink and dunk, and the two passes he threw that really stood out.
Field and we wind up scoring at the end of it. I don't care how we get the ball down there, just score.
Yeah, I mean, the two passes from Rattler that really stood out was the about 15 yards or so down the field to Xavier Legette, where you really could see the zip. And the thing with Rattler is it's just effortless. I mean, the throwing, he's a natural thrower of the football. It doesn't look like he's putting a whole lot of oomph into it. It naturally just flies out of his hand. So. Which, I mean, again, we knew he's got a hose.
Throws, I saw him throw one of the, I think was the one that he threw to Legette down the field, about 15 yards down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched his throwing motion, and he didn't even look like he broke a sweat throwing it 15 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an NFL arm. I mean, that's just bottom line. He's got an NFL arm. So, like I said, I selfishly would have loved to seen him cut one loose, just throw it down the field just to do it, but. I mean,
everybody run verts and just chunk one.
Yeah, I mean, literally just show off the cannon, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. They got the work in they needed. I mean, it's it's a spring game, so it's a spring game.
Yeah. And I also think, and I don't think this is going to happen, but the only way Kingston's going to save his job, in my opinion, is two things. One, if we somehow, which I highly doubt we will, if we somehow go undefeated the rest of the season, which I do not think that's going to happen.
Robbie, I'll put $1,000 that we won't go undefeated. I'll go ahead and I'll put $10,000 that we don't go undefeated.
Oh no, I don't think we will either. But I'm just saying.
I mean, if we go, we got 19 games. If we go 19-0 the rest of the way out, I will. I don't know what I'll do, honestly. I mean, I will. I'll get a tattoo of Mark Kingston's face. Like, we'll just do that thing. We'll just keep putting that bet out there till it hits. I mean, there's just no way, Robbie, it's going to happen. So, yeah.
No, I don't think it will either. I'm just
Yeah.
And and by the way, that helmet was dope Saturday. By the way, that helmet was awesome.
Yeah, helmet's fire. Yeah, helmets. You got to see it firsthand. It's incredible, man.
Yes,
it's incredible.
My dad was like, "Do you see Chris?" I was like, "I'd recognize that mullet from anywhere." There's Chris. He's right there. but yeah, but we I think we'll be okay. Just come into the season with what's the word I'm looking for? Just at least in the games where you probably have a chance, okay, like, make them earn it. Don't give it to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, make them have to beat you in order to get the W. Don't just roll over and just say, here, we'll take the loss, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And I think Beamer is doing very well in, like, trying to get them in the mindset of, if we're willing to sacrifice to help the team get better, we can start winning games that people don't expect us to win and beat teams convincingly that we're supposed to beat.
Mm.
And I think he's slowly and or quickly, however you want to phrase it, it's happening right in front of us.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've talked before. I think how you win is just as important as how many you win. And that's what you saw last year. I mean, you went 6-6, but, you know, some people just felt like, and I don't blame them. I mean, God, you beat Vandy by a point, and you beat Troy by 9 points, and you need a game-winning field goal to beat East Carolina. I mean, you won 6. Don't get me wrong. You went 7-6, but damn it, it wasn't that flashy. It wasn't, you know, I mean, the wins over Florida and Auburn made up for it down the stretch, but boy, it was a wild ride to get there. So, you know, that's why I said if you go 7-5 this year, but you smack Georgia State and Charlotte and SC State, and you smack Vandy, and that 7-5 feels a little different. Feels a little bit better.
Right.
So
yeah, I agree too. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I'm gonna get off of here. You have a great rest of your day and week. Okay.
Robbie, I appreciate you, my guy. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good stuff. 843-790-3377. Did EJ make any catches? I don't think EJ even played in the spring game, my guy. I'm pretty sure he didn't. We got a question here in the TDC Questions channel in the Big Cock Club Discord. Keith says, do you think Colton Gothiere should transfer? I mean, listen, it's hard for me to sit there and say what a kid should do. Like, that's up to the kid. That's up to the kid, right? I mean, listen, if he wants to just hang out at Carolina and never play and just be a Gamecock, then who am I to tell him not to do it? In regards to playing time, do I think it would benefit him? Probably. I think Colton is buried on the depth chart. I think Braden Davis is probably QB3 at this point. So if he wants to play, I think it's probably going to be in his best interest. You know, Tanner Bailey is also going to be coming on campus as well. So I don't see Colton being a guy. I don't see Colton being a guy that is going to crack the starting lineup here. I just don't. Anyways, Brian Dean. Salcona was a 7-win team before Rattler. Rattler is good for 2 more wins. 9-win season's a very good possibility. Okay, Brian Dean says 9-3 then. Like I said, I will lock in, guys, my predictions and everything not until heck July. So we got a little ways to go, folks. We got a little ways to go before I lock in officially my predictions and everything. But you know, I think anywhere between 7 and 9 wins is about where this team could fall. So we got a text here. EJ Jenkins of the portal. Wonder why he couldn't get things going. His length's incredible. Wouldn't be surprised if he landed at VT with Brown. Like I said, man, I think what people need to realize is playing wide receiver is a lot more than just being 6'7". Could he get separation? Could he run routes? Could he get open? Obviously, he couldn't do all those things well enough to contribute here. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's more to playing the position than being tall. It just is. And I mean, it's a shame almost because, you know, you have that God-given physique, right? You hate to see a guy not use it, but again, guys, the coaches are going to play the best available. They're going to play the best dudes. They're not just going to sit EJ Jenkins on the bench and he's some All-American sitting over there and, you know, whatever. So I think, again, it was just purely a playing time thing. I just think, you know, the speed and physicality of the SEC game, maybe he wasn't able to make that transition. Heck, I don't know. Again, I'm not in the building. I wasn't at practice every day. But But, I think he'll probably go to a smaller school and probably, make an impact. So let's see, guys. I want to continue to hear from you. Questions are rolling in, of course, as you would expect. Questions are rolling in here the Monday after the spring game. Full podcast drop this morning, episode 638. My thoughts, my takeaways on the spring game. Also, of course, my thoughts on Gamecocks baseball taking 2 out of 3 from the Ole Miss Rebels. Was a hell of a weekend in the city. Guys, we're going to jump into our first break, but again, I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, guys, I do want to hear from you. A lot to discuss and a lot to dive into here on this Monday. Content, of course, bleeding out the eyeballs. We got tons of video clips and stuff happening throughout the day. Let's see. Wednesday? Let's see. Looks like the Braves World Series Trophy Tour is hitting South Carolina Wednesday at Carolina Softball Stadium. I might have to stop by that. 4 to 7, and it's free admission, so that'd be pretty cool. Also, very excited to be jumping on. I think we'll probably add this onto the podcast that will drop Wednesday. I'm jumping on with my good friend Chris Marler on his podcast to talk this afternoon to talk Salcona spring game, my full thoughts on it, everything else. So again, guys, excited to chat with him. And yeah, so anyways, want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Santa Webster says Helfrich impressed. I mean, he did. I mean, listen, he's not going to play. He's not going to play. I mean, you saw a lot of guys on Saturday night that ain't going to play. They're just not going to play. I mean, and that's what the spring game is for. I mean, it's for to get everybody out there, get guys reps, get guys looks, young guys, maybe some guys that don't play as much. That's what it's really for. You know what I mean? Tanner Land says, I'm ready to see what the simulation's got to say about our team this year. Yeah. Yeah. I'm, it's funny. I was sort of pondering, if baseball season continued to sort of go the route it was going on, that we would start the simulation stuff early. So, I mean, I don't necessarily want to have to do that because I want to just navigate through baseball and us have a strong finish and have some baseball to talk about. You know what I mean? So, and that's the funny thing. I'm kind of torn, guys, because I'll tell you this. I'll be totally transparent. Many of you asked me this on Saturday. Do I think Kingston is the long-term answer to get South Carolina baseball back to the levels in which Ray Tanner had it? Probably not. But of course, with that being said, I want to see us make the postseason this year. No duh, right? The last thing I want is for us to be sitting at home while everyone else is enjoying postseason baseball. Because that's a terrible feeling. You know what I mean? That's a terrible feeling. So, I mean, I'd love to see this team somehow navigate and figure it out these last 15 SEC games. And I mean, again, this is the part of the schedule. We're going into the part of the schedule where you feel like maybe you'll be able to make some noise. I mean, we certainly didn't expect Auburn to be a ranked team when we played them. And you got to play, of course, at their place Friday at 7, Saturday at 3, Sunday at 2. Then the following weekend, Thursday through Saturday, you've got Alabama at your place. You feel good about that one. Then you travel to Texas A&M, who is an unranked Aggies team. I mean, they're dangerous, but very winnable series. Then you've got Kentucky at home. You feel like that's a very winnable series. So you've got some series upcoming, and you're going to have the opportunity to generate some big-time momentum. Your schedule is, I don't really even want to say favorable because the entire SEC right now is beating up on each other. And then, of course, you close at Florida May 19th through 21st, a Thursday through Saturday series. But you do have the opportunity to catch fire. I mean, you do. Somebody's got to. Somebody's got to, right? So you're going to have that opportunity. I don't know, man. I don't know that South Carolina will be able to do enough, and I'm still not going to predict they will because this team, as we've seen, guys, they're so inconsistent. And so it doesn't shock me we beat Ole Miss. It doesn't shock me we did that. It doesn't shock me we did that. But there'll probably be a series down the road, unfortunately, that we should win, that we lose. And that's just what this team has been this year. Yeah, Brian, EJ did not play in the spring game. You are correct, my friend. You are correct. John Kruger, I appreciate you rocking the merch, my guy. Appreciate you rocking the merch and showing love and showing support. By the way, shout out Braden Davis, who just followed us on Twitter, by the way. So thank you for that, Braden. I appreciate that. Let's see. Santa Webster, who's doing kick returns? Well, of course, they didn't do special teams on Saturday. I mean, I think Juju would be a great option. I mean, he's explosive, and I think using him in special teams would be – I think that'd be a great move. Excuse me, guys. I think that'd be a great idea. I'd love to see Juju get used in special teams. I mean, that dude, every time he touches the ball, you feel like good things happen. I mean, every single time. I mean, the dude is just explosive. You saw it in the spring game. He averaged 9.5 yards per carry. So Really, really good play. I'm excited for what Juju can do. Yeah, Connor, I saw the Vandy spring game. They couldn't win their own spring game. You say, yeah, it's just fun to make fun of Vandy, I guess. But no, that was kind of crazy for sure. Let's see. Again, guys, would love to hear from you. Austin Kane says, any return for Bosnick this year? At this point, I'm going to say no, Austin. I don't know for certain. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But, I mean, at this point, man, there's only 15 games left in the SEC. There's only 5 series left. So, at this point, almost what's the point of him pitching? Kingston's not going to come out and say anything unless it's positive news. He's not going to come out and just update us and whatever. The longer, if I had to guess right now, I'd say no. How he's not back yet is baffling. It's just truly baffling. But, you got to take care of your arm. I totally get it. He's got a bright future ahead. And, yeah, so whatever is what it is. So we'll play what we got. We'll play with who we got. And, you're going to have to continue to play with strategy, unfortunately. So, I still don't think starting Aiden Hunter game 1's a good idea. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm not saying you're conceding game 1, but you're far from throwing your best available. You're far from throwing your best available. I understand that it worked. I get that it worked, but I don't like it. I don't like it. So, hey, but if we keep winning, then to hell with what I think. It's all good, whatever. I just still don't like it. Connor Lee, the Clemson fans at the Clemson slap dicks at the spring game. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, guys, your questions, comments, calls as we get closer to the second hour. I talked about my biggest question earlier for offense heading in the offseason. When it comes to defense, and I'll tell you this, you can tell I feel like even less about your football team defensively than you can offensively when it comes to a spring game because the defense is so limited. They can't really do anything. They can't hardly blitz or, they can't hardly even hit because you want to protect your guys. But I will say going into the season, my biggest question mark, I think it's got to be the linebacker position. I think we're athletic up front of the defensive line, but stopping the run, can we do it? Can we do it consistently enough to give ourselves a chance defensively? And I'll tell you this too. Beyond that question mark, my question mark right now and my question mark going into the season will be this. And let's jump to the phone lines first, and I'll dive into that.
Call from
Dave Garrett.
Dave, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Just got off work. I was hoping to see you Saturday, but with the baseball game getting moved, that kind of threw my plans off a little bit. Mm-hmm. I just just got off work and got in the truck. I caught the E.J. Jenkins thing. How many more do you think we'll hear? Because Beamer said after the spring game that he was going to be meeting with every player starting at 7 o'clock this morning. Mm. I just thought it kind of ironic that he said that, and then we're getting somebody jumping already. I was just curious, how many do you think would jump in? And I think Gothiere might be a candidate for the portal because he didn't have a real good showing, but at the same time, there's still one more 4-star quarterback that's supposed to be coming in. But hope you have a good one, man. Talk to you later.
Dave, appreciate you, my guy. Always a pleasure to hear from you, Dave. First things first. Okay, so Shane Beamer meeting with players. Listen, they're going to sit down and have very open and honest conversations with guys. So, they probably did sit down with an E.J. Jenkins and say, hey, this is what the depth chart looks like right now. They're doing this with every player, by the way. This is what our depth chart looks like right now. This is where you sit. Realistically, if you want to play, they're probably going to tell some guys like, hey, it might be a good idea for you to look around. Bottom line. You need depth. You're not going to tell everybody that's not starting that, but I'm sure there's some guys that they're like, hey, just so you know, this is where you sit. This is where you are. Setting realistic expectations going into off-season workouts, going into fall camp. That's very important, right? It's important for the health of your football team. You want to be honest with guys. You want to be honest. Hey, the transfer portal exists. Give them an opportunity to go somewhere where they can contribute and they can play. Because believe it or not, guys, everybody on that roster has aspirations of the NFL. Very few guys sign with South Carolina or go to a South Carolina or go to an SEC school for that matter and don't think they're going to go to the league, right? So, hey, if that's your dream, that's your goal, that's your ambition, your vision, you got to play to get to the league. So, guys are going to go somewhere they can play. And that's why I always say to you guys, it's just so funny when people like a Mike Wyman or Rosendo Lewis or other players hit the transfer portal and fans are commenting fans take it so personal when a guy transfers. It's like those players don't love South Carolina the way you do. It's a different kind of love, but they went to college to play. They're not loyal to South Carolina over themselves. They go to school to play. They want to play. You know what I mean? So you can't hold it against a kid. You just can't hold it against a kid for a kid saying, you know what? Hey, South Carolina's recruited really well here. I'm buried on the depth chart. And that's totally fine. It's nobody's fault, but I want to go somewhere where I can play. And I think E.J. Jenkins just looked at the situation. Bell's going to be the feature guy. Stogner's going to be the feature guy. Kenyon had a great spring game. Chad Terrell had a great spring game. Where does he fit in? Where does he fit in the equation? I mean, the guy couldn't crack the starting lineup last year. And we're going to be way deeper this year. So I don't blame him at all. I don't blame him at all. It is what it is. I wish him the best of luck. Appreciate him being a Gamecock. But, let bygones be bygones. And, hey, it opens up a spot on the roster for somebody else. So there you go. Let's see. And I guess Dave also asked, do I see anybody else entering the portal? Do I see anybody else enter the portal? It wouldn't shock me. I would probably say yes, just because the transfer portal is so prevalent. I think it will happen. Let's see. We get a text here. It says, I think people are going to panic when we start out 1-2 and 0-2 in SEC play, but I will not. This program's still a work in progress. Rattler will be the difference at quarterback and is worth a win or two in his own, in my opinion. I can realistically see us going anywhere from 6-6 to 9-3 regular season, depending on which side we end up on in some of those toss-up close games. At the end of the day, I have 7-5 and 4-4 in SEC play, and I think that's fair. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Zachary, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
First off, Chris, I don't know how they got that only 20,000 people were there. I mean, from what I saw, there was more than 20,000. I looked across at me. The seats across me were nearly full. I literally moved because there was two. I didn't like all the people that were getting next to me on where I was originally sitting. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how they only got 20,000, but yeah, I don't get that.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine, my friend. And I mean, USC is the one that released the number. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they came up with it. I don't know what means of calculating they used. I think we all agree that number is inaccurate. I think we all agree. So.
Yeah. So getting into the spring game, I had a really great time. It was a good time being out there. We showed up and we showed out. It was amazing. So getting into the game, like Spencer Rattler looked really good. I mean, he looked legit. His scrambling was really good. That pass to Wells on the sideline was amazing because like Boogie and another guy was just like barreling down on him, and he got that pass off, and I was like, "That's impressive. That's amazing." That was so good. And as like Luke Doty also looked really good. I was so happy for Luke. I think I think me and you and a couple others are like the few Luke Doty supporters still out there, and I was glad to see that he looked really well out there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Doty looked improved for sure. He's obviously healthy. So that's a big difference. Yeah, I thought Luke Doty definitely like he's improved. He looked in command out there. And, of course, Spencer Rattler. I mean, again, we didn't see a ton because they didn't go down the field a ton, which is fine, whatever. But certainly you saw, as I talked earlier, you saw the zip. You saw the natural velocity on that throw to Xavier Legette on that little corner route, I guess you could call it. And then the one he had where, like you mentioned, the defensive lineman in his face, and to be able to flick that ball like that and make that accurate of a throw on the sideline. I mean, he's a natural passer with the football. And I think you also saw, too, from Spencer Rattler, and again, it's tough because, D lineman can't hit the quarterback, but you did see I wouldn't call him like a mobile, like a Luke Doty, but he's got enough wiggle, I think, and enough mobility to be good back there and to improvise and make plays for us. And, certainly that's something you need. So, yeah, I mean, dude, I'm excited with Rattler. I mean, there's nothing about the spring game that I saw that makes me feel, worse, obviously, about him being back there. I mean, I'm very excited for what he brings to our offense and his playmaking ability. And again, just that pure arm strength he's got. And yeah, I mean, he looked in control, looked in command, and, I think he's going to be poised to have a really, really good year for us. So.
Yeah. And Braden also, he had a great throw. That throw he made to Travion Kenyon, as soon as that ball was out, as soon as Kenyon crossed the defender's face, I was like, wow, that's an incredible throw. And he's like just a freshman. Like, imagine how much he'll improve, especially since he got here early. It's like that was a really great throw, and that was a really great throw by him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think his upside is there, man, for sure. I mean, I obviously, ideally, I think ideally he doesn't play this year because Spencer Rattler's balling out, or if he does play, we're up by 30 or 40 points. But, I mean, you'd like to get him the experience, get him the reps in some degree. But, yeah, I mean, I think definitely you see the potential there. I think you see the potential. So, yeah, I'm excited for him too, man. And then you add in Tanner Bailey. I mean, you like to think the future of that quarterback room is very, very bright.
Yes, the quarterback room has definitely been flipped.
Yeah, so I'm pumped for it, man. And like I said, I'm really excited to watch Spencer Rattler this fall. I mean, I say it half jokingly, but I just tell people if I didn't like Spencer Rattler, I wouldn't have put his name on a T-shirt, my guy. So I'm excited for him. There's no doubt. I'm very excited for him.
Yeah, and the running backs, I thought the running backs I don't think the O-line was that great, but I also didn't think it was that bad. But I also thought that the running backs made up a lot for themselves. Mm-hmm. Marshawn Lloyd definitely had you can tell that he's getting back to where he once was, because I think he's now fully able to trust that knee now. Mm-hmm. It's like what they say with ACL injuries, it's like it's literally the next year. It's not the year after, it's like the next year. So I think he can fully trust that knee now. Mm-hmm. And Juju was just running wild out there. Rashad Amos was going for a roster spot. And Chris, I don't know if it was as loud as it was for Jason Brown, but DJ Twitty was making some noise out there, and some people were like, oh, that guy should get a spot on the roster too. He should, because he should.
Yeah, I thought Twitty looked good. No, he ran hard. I mean, it's a very competitive running back room. I mean, there's a lot of guys fighting for carries, man. So I think realistically, Twitty might be the odd man out. I think it's probably going to be a lot more of Beal Smith and Lloyd and Juju. And I mean, again, you just realistically, it's going to be hard to play 4 guys or 5 guys. But you got great depth. I mean, that's what you need. You need good depth. And so a guy like Twitty getting out there, I thought he looked really, really good. Not a dude we've seen a lot of film on or really even heard a lot about, but I thought he looked good. And again, the bottom line is this: the takeaway is the running back room is I mean, it might be honestly the best position group on our football team, just top to bottom. I mean, we've got dudes on dudes on dudes. You got plenty of options. And so again, whoever is RB1, what that means is whoever is RB1, they're going to be, they're going to earn it. And I think it's going to make them a much better player because, again, the whole iron sharpens iron mentality, that depth is only a plus for us. So, yeah, I thought Twitty looked good. I thought Marshawn Lloyd looked good coming off. He's obviously, like you said, that second year coming off the injury, and he looked much more comfortable. And I thought the spin move was, that he had on that one run was really a good indicator of, okay, he's really trusting that knee again. He's looking closer and closer to the guy we heard about on the recruiting trail, I mean, obviously Juju, again, he's just every time he touches the ball, he's explosive. I thought Beal Smith looked solid. I'm still really high on him and excited for his game. So Rashad Amos even looked good. So you got plenty of options at running back.
Yeah, I think Beal Smith, he might be the short yard back because they use him on the short yard situation. So I think he's more useful than that, but I mean that's what he really showed on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be on that coaching staff obviously to figure out which guys fit where and what guys work in what situations and just sort of go from there. So, because again, you got plenty of options. It's now just how do you put the puzzle pieces together to use them all most effectively.
Yeah, I thought I was happy to see Chad Terrell get that touchdown. That I was like, oh, it's like Chad Terrell. I was like, that was a shocker. But I was happy for him. He's been hampered with injuries, and it was good to see him get that touchdown. And Travion Kenyon as well. You know what? You might have if Travion Kenyon. They say he has good spring, so hopefully he can bring that into the fall, and we have like a 3-headed monster at tight end. I mean, or whatever Jaheim's going to be, because Jaheim can do whatever he wants.
I mean, you'd like another guy to step up. I think Kenyon's a solid option. I really do. It was great just to see Chad Terrell contribute because of what he's been through. I mean, realistically, I think he's going to be a major contributor this fall or anything. No, I don't think so. But, man, it's one of those feel-good stories when a guy's dealt with what he's dealt with. And so to contribute and have that touchdown was, really awesome to see. But, I'm excited for the tight ends. I mean, I know people ask about depth, but, God, you got Bell, you got Stogner, you got Kenyon. I mean, you're going to have dudes, man. You're going to have options. I'm not too worried about it at all, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, and Wells looked good. He looked good most of the night. He was on Cam Smith too, so I thought he looked really well. The sideline catch was definitely his best catch of the night, and it was just it was amazing that him and Spencer have just build up that trust in such a little time. So I was really excited to see that.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway for me in regards to Antoine Wells is just he's going to be a major part of our offense. Like they're going to do things to get him the football. I mean, it's they had him in the sweep game. Obviously, they threw him the football. Yeah, I think he's going to be a huge part. I think it's going to be 1A, 1B with Josh Van and Wells. I'm excited for him. He's just another weapon. He's extremely athletic. I think you saw that, the athleticism, the explosiveness, the playmaking ability. So, I mean, that was a great pickup, man. I mean, you virtually picked up the best wide receiver in the FCS. I mean, literally, that's what you did. So, I'm excited for him. I'm very excited for him. So, it's I think he's going to be a big-time player for us.
Yeah. So, yeah, Chris. It was, all in all, I thought Unleashed Flash. I thought Burst Flash. I thought this was a very even game. I don't think you want one side to dominate the other side, but I thought both sides were very even. I mean, they broke up the teams evenly, but I think that's a good thing to show that there's not like that far of a talent gap. Maybe I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're continuing to build depth. So that's one thing that jumped out to me as well in that game was just that we have much more depth than we had a season ago. I'm not saying we're there yet. We got to continue to build, but we do have much more depth, I think, than we had last year for sure.
Yeah. All in all, I was also impressed with the physicality. I mean, there was a few hits out there. I was actually like, man, that was a good hit. I was actually shocked by a lot of the physicality. I didn't think they were going to be that physical, but they were playing through the whistle, and I liked it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at some point you got to play ball, man. You can't just play two-hand touch. I mean, if they wanted to play a flag football game, they would. So I mean, it's you got to let guys play. You know what I mean? It's when you're playing half speed and you're playing trying to not get injured, that's when you get injured. So, yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, I thought the physicality was good last year. I thought it was good Saturday night. And guys out there fighting, trying to earn spots. And again, that's what it's all about, man. Guys fighting for jobs and fighting for roles. And that's how you build a quality football team, man. Again, you got to build that depth somehow. So.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's always a pleasure, my guy. I appreciate your insight.
All right. Thank you.
Really, really good stuff. Zachary, again, appreciate him calling in. Yeah, really, really good stuff on the spring game. And again, I want to continue to hear from you guys on the spring game. Coach Ford with some comments in regards to record, in regards to his thought on the spring game. I'm going to get into those right after the break, guys. Again, we're going to jump into a break. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Yeah, Marion. Robbie already called in earlier in the show. So if you want to hear that, listen back on. It was about 30 minutes in he called him. About 30 minutes in. Let's go back to Coach Ford's comments. He says, I said 6-6 or 7-5 at best. I did not see anything that changed my mind. Neither O-line looked particularly good. He also says Doty's a great guy. Does not look like a guy that has been there that long. Said that Gothiere has a big arm, needs reps. Also said, I saw some decent talent, but the O-line and scheme are just not there for much more than 7-5. Again, I'll go back to this. Hard to tell about the offensive line from the spring game. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, because again, it's like if the offensive line, if we would have gone out there and ran for 400 yards or whatever, in a spring game, well, then what does that say about the D-line? So I don't think there's really anything that could have happened in that spring game on the offensive line standpoint that I would have said, oh, well, the O-line just looks worlds better than it looked last year. Or it looks like it's going to be a strength for us this year versus a weakness. I don't think there's anything that could have happened. And also when you're talking scheme, listen, I know Coach Ford, you are guilty until proven innocent with Satterfield going in the fall, and that's totally fine and fair. I'm not even coming at you for it. I understand. We all understand it's a prove-it year for Sat. And if the offense doesn't click and it doesn't work, it'll be 110% on him, and it will be time to make a change. No doubt. Nobody's debating that. Nobody's denying that. But I just don't know what you could have expected to see from a spring game where you said, oh, well, the scheme is this and that. I mean, they're not going to run the whole playbook. You don't even have all your starters on one side of the ball. So those are all fair questions, though. To your point, those are all fair questions. In regards to when you start talking about, okay, what are the question marks surrounding this team? Yeah. I mean, is Satterfield going to be good enough in regards to scheming this thing up? And because now he's got the pieces. There's no excuse. You got the pieces. Can you scheme it up, right? Can you be more aggressive, I guess? You know what I mean? The offensive line, is it going to be good enough? Is it going to be good enough? Are you going to once again ask your offensive line to do too much? Or is your scheme going to be one that's understood and everybody's going to be on the same page and there's not going to be the confusion that it was last year? Again, I think having it your quarterback, I think is going to make a huge difference. But again, as I mentioned earlier, that is the question mark. It's offensive line. Offensive line is the question mark. Will the offensive line be improved enough to get the most out of Spencer Rattler, Antoine Wells, Christian Beal-Smith, Josh Vann, Austin Stogner, Jaheim Bell? Will it be improved enough? Because I think certainly you got the guys at the skill positions now. You do. And I'm not saying you're elite out there. I'm not saying you're elite out there. You still got a ways to go. It's just year 2 of Beamer. But you've got enough. You've got enough, in my opinion, to, get to that 7-win mark. Maybe even that 8-win mark. Maybe even, God forbid, that 9-win mark. I think you have those guys. So, and Brian, I'm not worried, my guy, about the defense. I'm really not. I'm not. Oh, and that's the point I didn't get to earlier, by the way, before I believe Dave Garrick or somebody else called in. Now, I talked about my greatest concern and my greatest question mark on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball, outside of stopping the run, and I mentioned linebackers, my greatest question mark for this defense going into not just the offseason, not just the summer, not just fall camp, but going into the actual season is this. You might recall, and I hate to bring up the previous regime, I hate to bring up the previous tenure, but you might recall the 2017 season in which that team was just so good getting the ball off of people, right? That team was so good getting the ball off of people. And that's really why that team won 9 games. That's why that team won the Outback Bowl. I mean, you recall we forced like 5 turnovers against Michigan, right? 5 turnovers against Michigan. I mean, that's why you won all those games. And looking back, was it a little smoke and mirrors? Was that team really a 9-win team? That's up for debate. And I'm not trying to say these situations are, the same, but you relied on turnovers a lot last year, right? You relied on turnovers a lot. You did. You had a very opportunistic defense. And I'm not taking anything away from the defense last year. But my question for the defense, the number one question, hey, you lose a Jalen Foster, who led the SEC in interceptions, right? Where are those turnovers now going to come from? And if you're not able to get turnovers at the rate in which you got them a season ago, are you still able to be effective defensively? Are you still able to make stops, right? Because Salcona last year, hey, 6-6 in the regular season, a 7th win in a bowl game. But you look back at that regular season especially. Think to East Carolina. Think to Troy. Think to Vandy, right? A lot of your success came because you were able to be very, very opportunistic defensively. And I'm not taking anything away from the defense, but you talk to anybody who covers football for a living, any football guys out there, they'll tell you. I mean, turnovers, yes, it's about being in the right place at the right time. It's about coaching. It's a mindset. It's a mentality. It's also some luck. It is. It's also some luck, right? And we were right place, right time a lot last year. So can you bank on that again? You know, hey, a lot of going 7-5, 8-4 this year. Guys, it is a lot of it's the ball bouncing our way. The ball bouncing our way. That's why I'm so like, guys, slow down a little bit when you start talking 9-3. Just slow down. Because there's no guarantee the ball bounces our way again. I mean, imagine if the ball doesn't bounce our way last year and we lose to Vandy and we lose to East Carolina or we lose to Troy. I mean, we're having a totally different conversation right now. Totally different conversation. Again, I'm taking nothing away from the defense and what they did last year. Had a great year, and I'm confident in Clayton White. I'm confident in Torian Gray. But you lost Jalen Foster. Who's going to be that guy? That's that big play threat for you. Who's going to be the playmaker of the defense? Is it going to be Cam Smith? Is it going to be Devontae Reed? Is it going to be R.J. Roderick? Is it going to be Sherrod Green? Is it going to be Jordan Strawn or Jordan Birch? So I think I see Savannah said, or Savannah Webster just said that she wishes the ball would bounce our way. I mean, Savannah, again, though, I would say it did bounce our way a little bit last year. I think it did. I mean, I think we were very fortunate to get the 6 wins. I think we were very fortunate. I mean, that was probably a 4-win football team. So that's why I kept saying I think the job that Shane Beaver did in year 1, it was a fantastic job. Personnel was an issue last year. Matt Garner says, Birch needs to do something. He's been a letdown so far. Well, I mean, I'll say this for the hype that he came in with being a 5-star guy. He hasn't lived up to it. He hasn't. So you really need him to pan out. Savannah Webster says, another 11-win season. Well, to get an 11-win season, Savannah, we got to recruit at a different kind of level. We do. We got to recruit at a different kind of level, bottom line. So, and again, it's just year 2 of Beamer, right? Just year 2. It's just year 2. But it takes more than luck to get to 11 wins. It takes really, 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 really talented football players. I mean, I talked to a kid at a baseball game a couple weeks ago that worked on the team last year. Worked for Gamecocks football. So he went to all the road games. I mean, he literally worked on the team. And he told me, he just said, Chris, when we played Georgia, when we played Texas A&M, he's like, standing on the field next to the A&M guys, he's like, it's crazy how big those guys are. Like, just like how massive they are. Like, he's like, we were outmanned. I mean, we were outmanned from the jump. And I'm not saying that's an excuse to have 11 yards of offense. But I am saying, that was a real issue we faced last year. Austin Greer, Birch stats, 2021 win, 14 solo tackles, 12 assists, and 1 sack. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been, what we all hope for. But he's got an opportunity this season for sure. I mean, he's going to be one of the feature guys. 843-790-3337. Some of the guys that take 43790-3377. We are taking your questions, comments, calls. Phone lines are open. Matt Garner said, I hate to see Jenkins leaving. I think he could have been a great weapon with a good quarterback, which we didn't have last year. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
Rebecca.
Rebecca, what's going on? How are you?
Good. I haven't called in for a little bit, I know.
Yeah, I know. I figured you've been busy. It's all good. What's going on?
And nothing much. I say everybody's wondering how I'm doing, or
Yeah.
they ain't heard from me on here. I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, I started a job with DoorDash.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that. That going well?
Yeah, it's doing good. Last Monday when I started, and then Friday I did DoorDash, and I'm not doing DoorDash until tomorrow.
Okay. Very good.
But I did pretty good for the first pay.
Love to hear that.
Got like $70 for tips and all.
Very nice.
I did pretty good for what I did. But anyway, I didn't get to watch that spring game.
Didn't get to watch it.
Mm-mm.
Well, they got highlights on YouTube if you want to check it out.
Might look into it.
Yeah, should look into it. Just go search 2022 Garnet and Black spring game. You'll see it. It'll be the first one that pops up.
I got some friends that is aggravating the piss out of me right now. And they want me to take them to the store and all this shit. I turned my damn phone off. Surely, I did.
Sometimes you just got to do it, Rebecca.
So they got my attention. You want to hear what they had to say just to get my attention on Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, everybody don't get mad at me for saying this, because this is them that said it. This was not me. Let's see. It says right here, they sent a picture of a gamecock, and they put on here that gamecock sucks dick. Because I wouldn't answer their damn phone calls about them wanting to go to the damn store.
Sounds like you need new friends.
I'm fed up with them. To be honest, feel like I'm a darn taxi cab for them.
You just a hot ride around town.
It's like, if you don't, they just trying to do shit just to get my attention with. You know? Well, who do we play?
We've got Winthrop Wednesday in baseball, and then we got Auburn this weekend.
Okay. It is Tennessee fans. That is giving me hell, Savannah. They like to do it. Made that clear for her to understand. One of them's a Georgia fan and one's a Tennessee fan. So she put on there Gamecocks can suck dick. So she done that just to get my attention.
Gotcha.
Anyway. So how you been?
I've been good, Rebecca. I've been good. Just doing the damn thing. So just doing the damn thing, staying busy.
I hear you.
Living the dream.
Now, I'm happy that I got that job.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. Happy for you, for sure.
It gets me out of the house, though.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Anyway, you said that we play Auburn.
We got Auburn this weekend. Yeah, Auburn this weekend.
Well, they can kiss my ass.
Love to hear it. Rebecca, we got the phone lines ringing off the hook, so we're going to get some people in here. Obviously, everybody wants to talk spring game and everything, but I appreciate you calling. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me talk on here.
Yeah, of course,
Well,
always.
I did see that the Clemson fans was at the spring game. What the hell are they doing there?
Rebecca, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea.
They shouldn't be at that spring game in the first place.
I'd agree. I don't know if they were lost or they were just slapdicks or I don't know what they were doing.
They shouldn't have come to the ball game if they want in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell their problem is. To be honest.
I don't think we'll ever know.
I think they lost their damn minds. Just to come to a South Carolina Gamecock football. Seriously.
Indeed. Rebecca, like I said, we're going to jump into some other calls. I appreciate you, though. We'll talk soon.
All
right. We'll talk soon. Great stuff. Rebecca, always a pleasure to hear from her. 843-790-3377. Savannah Webster, did Auburn win their series this weekend? I'd have to look. I think they did. I got to look at the schedule, though. I really haven't checked. Let's see. Heath says, cheers to all in TDC from Norway. The weather report is, I don't know what that was. Weather report is 40, cloudy, and snow everywhere. Heath's in Norway. Heath, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Norway, Heath. Travis Allen says, last year we had to be creative just because of the roster. I think you'll see a completely different team this year. I mean, certainly it is going to be a completely different team. I think we're still probably going to have to be creative in some ways, but yeah, I mean, I think we have more depth. I think we got a more talented football team. I think that really goes without saying. Guys, we have reached 1:40. We're going to jump into our final break here on this Monday, but I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side of the break. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. Final 15 minutes or so here on the Daily Crow. 843-790-3377. That is the number. Heath Hagler says, my biggest takeaway from the spring game is the wide receiver position looks to be much improved from the last 2 years. More depth and more developed. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think certainly Salcona has done a fantastic job in regards to flipping the wide receiver room. Josh Van coming into his own last year. You add in Antoine Wells, which was a huge, huge pickup. Corey Rucker is going to come in as well. I still think we're working to build out that room. I still think we're looking to build out depth. But, we're certainly improving, and I think it's going to be better than it was a year ago. You factor in to Kerryon Joyner and Jaheim Bell, who didn't even play in the game on Saturday. You feel good in regards to, I think we have enough pass catchers. I still wouldn't call the room – I wouldn't call it like a strength in the sense of like it's one of the best in the conference. I wouldn't say all that, but it's much better than it was. It's much better than it was for sure. I mean, we looked at last year, just thinking the receiver room was just completely just – a weakness. And, I think you've without a doubt improved. Like I said, just adding Wells and Rucker, I think has been 2 huge additions. I think the receiver position's in a much, much better place than it was in. Matt Garner says maybe with some transferring out, we can get good O-lineman or D-lineman. You got to think they're going to pick up somebody in the portal, right? I don't think we're done in the portal. Let's put it that way. Because here's what's happening. Spring practice is wrapping up for most every single school. Spring games are happening. And again, like Shane Beamer's doing today, coaches are just having these sit downs with players and telling them, this is exactly where you fall on the depth chart. This is where you sit. This is your role on our football team. And, some guys are going to come out of those meetings and say, you know what, I think it's best that I go somewhere else. So the transfer portal is going to happen. No doubt the transfer portal is going to happen. Travis Allen says, one thing I want to see is the offense not go 3 and out. Yeah, me too. Obviously that's going to happen inevitably at some point, but you'd like to see the offense have a lot of success for sure. I'd like to see the offense have a lot of success for sure. Let's see. Again, guys, in case you missed it, from this morning or just when we started the Daily Crow, E.J. Jenkins has officially entered the transfer portal. So E.J. Jenkins officially in the portal. Obviously wishing him the best of luck, guys. I think it was just a playing time thing. I just don't think Jenkins with the additions, I don't think he was going to be a very, very big part of our offense. And you can't blame a guy. You can't fault a guy for wanting to go somewhere else and find playing time elsewhere. And so that's what he's going to go do. And, I think there'll probably be some more guys coming in and out because the transfer portal, like I said, it's just such a prevalent thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't pick up a couple guys. So we'll see what happens. But E.J. Jenkins is officially in the transfer portal. So Auburn losing 2 of 3 this past week in Mississippi State. They are 8-7 in the SEC. Auburn's still ranked, though, in the top 20. And South Carolina, what's interesting, you go on the road Wednesday at Winthrop, and then you're on the road for 3 games in Auburn. The Gamecocks are 1-7. 1-7 on the road this year. So can you snap that? Can you break out of that funk on the road and, find a way to get a couple W's? I really would look at and think that you need a 3-1 week to maintain any sort of hope or expectation of postseason play. You absolutely need a 3-1 week. By the way, I did not check on this. That baseball game on Wednesday, that game is on ESPN Plus. Okay, so it will be streamed. I just wasn't sure because last year we played at Winthrop. They didn't have any sort of video feed, which I thought was just crazy. By the way, guys, in case you missed it, no Tin Roof show this week yet again. I know it's crazy, but Tin Roof, they've got like an event they're putting on Wednesday at their location in the Vista. So we will not have a Tin Roof show yet again this week. And then we won't have one next week either because yours truly is heading out of town on a bachelor trip Wednesday through Sunday of next week. So we're going to be basically the entire month of April without a Tin Roof show, which I miss it already. I truly do. I miss it already. But Gamecocks taking on Winthrop, like I said, Wednesday at 6 o'clock, ESPN Plus, and then all weekend at Auburn, Friday through Sunday. So going to be an exciting weekend of baseball for sure. Let's see. Austin Greer will not pick up any SEC portal guys because they'd have to sit out a year. That's a very good point. But yeah, anyways, guys, I was happy with the spring game overall. And again, you can hear my full thoughts on the podcast that dropped this morning, but happy with the spring game. I thought it was productive. I thought it was a great day for the fans. And again, guys, I say to all of you that are tuned in that I may have met or interacted with or whatever, meeting you was incredible. Thank you so much for the love and support. Thank you so much, man, for showing that love. It's just, it means the world, man. I'm so grateful, and it's just so cool to think people rock with the business and the brand and the content and the show to the point where people want to have interactions like that in person. It was just so awesome to interact with and hang out with so many great Gamecocks. And again, I thought Saturday was a massive success. I thought the spring game as a whole, the Patrick Davis concert, the game, the fireworks, everything in between. The tailgate was awesome. I thought we had a blast. My Gamecock Bourbon Society guys, they put on a great show as well. They put on a great tailgate and had a great event on Friday. So overall, it was a very, very successful weekend and a really fun weekend in the city. Got to see family, got to see friends. No complaints at all. No complaints at all. Courtney Washington, I told y'all we had a good baseball team. They just need consistency. Courtney, I still would argue we're not a good baseball team. I don't think we're a great baseball team. Until I'm proven otherwise, I just think we're a painfully inconsistent baseball team. Courtney, what happens when we go lose 2 or 3 to Auburn? Are we still a good baseball team? I'm not. I told you before earlier in the season that we're going to have moments of brilliance. We're going to flash at times, and then at times we're going to look like we have no clue what we're doing. So this past weekend just solidifies that. I think, unfortunately, that's what you're going to probably see. I think right now, if I had to project you, I think we probably finish. We got 15 SEC games. I think 12 and 18 is probably where we end up. I think 12 and 18 is probably when we end up overall. So that's, I'd love to be wrong. That's kind of my feeling on it right now. Kemper, great to see you, my man. Great to see you, Kemper. Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Travis Allen, the schedule for the Daily Crow is normal this week. Podcast, Daily Crow, everything is a normal schedule. We're going to be live every single day, noon to 2. Podcast, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The only thing different about this week is no Tin Roof show because Tin Roof's got an event at their location. But it actually works out well because baseball plays Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. So that would have been a tough scheduling conflict either way. So, yeah. Everything else is normal, though. Daily Crow on is normal. Podcast on is normal. Content bleeding out the eyeballs. You guys know the drill. So you guys know the drill. Content bleeding out the eyeballs. So, again, I would love, I'd love to see baseball make a run down the stretch. I'd love to see these guys. Again, you got 15 SEC games left. You realistically, I think you got to go 9-6 or better. Is that asking a little too much of this group? I think it probably is, to be honest with you. I think it probably is. But, you never know. You never know. Maybe it can happen. Maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle when we get hot. Again, this is the point in the schedule where the schedule eases up. I'm very hesitant to say that because, again, Auburn's a top 20 team. The SEC's been so crazy that there's no gimme weekend, right? Like playing Texas A&M and playing Kentucky and playing Alabama. It's not just like a kick-in weekend like maybe we once thought it was. So it's going to be tough, but you know what? The opportunity's there. The opportunity's there. Again, I still say this team probably won't hit 30 wins and probably still is not going to go to the postseason. I'd be surprised. Courtney, I'm not saying like we're terrible. But I just still think we're too inconsistent to make any sort of real run and, make the postseason. So, I'd love to be proven wrong because there's nothing more I want to see than postseason baseball. I don't care even if we get bounced in the regionals. I'd just love to have baseball to talk about. Travi, Bosnick has not been ruled out or anything. There's been no update. So, there has been no update. So at this point, I'd be surprised if Julian Bosnick pitched this season. I'd be surprised. I really would. Let's see. And Courtney says we've got potential We just got to put it all together. I mean, again, Courtney, let me do this, actually. Courtney Washington, if we get our act together, we could possibly be in Omaha. Courtney, stop it. Stop it. Courtney, I love your optimism, but stop it. I mean, I don't know if you're trolling me right now or if you're being serious right now. Nothing about this group is SEC or is Omaha caliber. Nothing. We're hitting even at the halfway point of SEC play. These are our numbers. Halfway point, we are 6-9 in conference play. We are hitting 221 in SEC play, and we have a 6.54 ERA. That's who we are. Bottom line, that's who we are. So, Courtney, I listen, I respect the optimism. I mean, I love Carolina baseball, Courtney. There's nobody who wants you to be right more than me. But saying this is an Omaha caliber club is a stretch that I won't even allow. I won't allow that. Like, let's keep the expectations realistic. I mean, I would just love to see this team make the postseason. Really, truly. Let's just make the freaking postseason. Omaha is way out of the question. Babes and Waves says night game for spring game permanent. Why not? I mean, why not? I think it absolutely should be. I mean, it doesn't make sense to not do it at night. Like, if you can just do it whenever you want, and, you know, TV is not an issue. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be an issue, right? Because it's on SEC Network Plus. Like, it doesn't matter. I say, why not? Truly. I mean, I thought that was a blast. I thought that was a huge success. I know fans loved it. It's just different, man, being in Willie B under the lights. It's just different. So I say, why not make it a permanent thing? I was shocked, by the way. You know, Alabama and Georgia and these other schools, you know, they've literally put like 90,000 in their stadium for spring games. Like, what happened? What happened to that? Bama had like 10,000 people there. Am I missing something? I mean, even Georgia didn't pack it. They just won a national title. What happened to those guys putting 90,000 in the seats for the spring game? Like, has streaming really just taken over to that level where nobody's doing that anymore? I mean, I was just really surprised to see that. I was really, because normally those guys are doing that, I thought. I don't know if maybe I missed the memo. Courtney says, yeah, if they can find some consistency and put it all together, depending on how the tournament's set up, who's in our bracket, I think we may have a shot. Courtney, I you know what? I tip my cap to you. I hope somehow, some way we get to the postseason and we catch fire. And I mean, again, Courtney, there's nobody who would love to see it more than me, but I mean, I feel like you're letting one good weekend. I feel like you're letting one good weekend sort of, you know, brainwash you a little bit. I hate to say that, but Omaha, come on, man. Cam Davis, why did EJ leave again? Cam, I think it was purely just a playing time thing. I think it was just purely, you know, we added a lot of guys in the portal. We added a lot of guys over the course of the offseason. I think EJ Jenkins just looked around and realized, hey, my reps are going to be limited. They are, bottom line. My reps are going to be limited. If I want to play a lot and have an opportunity to be a big-time contributor, I got to go somewhere else. So I think it's as simple as that. I don't, you know, I don't know the situation, but from everything we know, I don't think it was anything, you know, malicious or ill will or anything like that. I think it was just simply he's not going to play. He's just not going to play. So got surpassed in the depth chart, and, you know, guys want to play. They want to be Gamecocks, but they want to play more than they want to be Gamecocks. So I think that's your reasoning. John Kruger says, Courtney, stop. We are not going to Omaha, even the tournament. Yeah, I mean, again, let's just take it one step at a time. I just want to make the postseason. Like, let's just make the freaking postseason. So, guys, we've hit 2 o'clock. Appreciate you all tuning in. Like I said, check out the podcast that dropped this morning. If you have not, episode 638, a full breakdown of the spring game. And also, I talk Salcona taking 2 out of 3 from the Ole Miss Rebels. Again, guys, normal schedule this week. Daily Crow rocking and rolling podcast today, Wednesday and Friday, and content bleeding out the eyeballs all week long. Folks, hey, appreciate all your questions, your comments, those who called in, guys. And again, thank you so much for what was an incredible weekend in the City of Dreams. It was so fantastic meeting all of you and interacting with you. And just like I said, hanging out with so many great Gamecocks. We had a blast. Guys, again, I appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.